Oh, I think everyone can say, well, the balance isn't quite right. That's very easily said. Um, the basic concept was to say, here's a race, you can do it in a boat you can pick up for £50,000 and spend a bit of money on it and prepare it and go off and go and sail around the world, opposed to an Open 60, which is probably 5 million. And it's got to be, professional and sponsored and everything else. This is something that's open to every man. So in that respect, I thoroughly supported it. Well, what you've got to realise is that VHFs are very rare when I went around the world, and I didn't have one anyway. I had a single sideband set. Well, I could have talked to other boats with that, and probably the ranges would have been such, but nothing was ever laid on to do it. Because we were all setting off individually, we never got together. This is different because they've started together, they've got to know each other before the start. And some of them have said, well, let's chat to each other every day at 10 or 12, we'll have a chat net. I think that's a great idea. I think it's nice that they do that. They can compare notes, talk to each other. You can say it's not quite the same as it was for me because I've got someone to talk to. Well, I don't feel that's wrong. I don't feel it's wrong that they should do that. I think that's fine if they want to chat to each other and do it. If they're exchanging weather information, well, fine. I mean, I'm not sure how much they're getting. So they only get it from the race organizer, don't they? I think. Well, they're better off than I was. There wasn't any. It makes a difference, yeah, but I don't think it's huge. Blokes have still got to sail their boats, and Susie, of course, still got to sail their boats. They've still got to be on their own doing that. They've got no one to help them doing that. You want to have a chat net and discuss the weather. I don't see any problem with it. It wouldn't worry me if if they're doing that. As I say, I'd probably have allowed them more communication. But I think this is a toe in the water thing. There'll be modifications after it. There'll be an assessment. Exactly what I did with the BOC race in '82. I got all the finishers together and we settled down and made the next race's rules. Now, you won't get a better team than that. 10 solar circumnavigators. These are the people you want to talk to. We got criticised by designers saying they should have been there. We said, no, you shouldn't. This is the sailors. The sailors are going to make these decisions, not you people. We're going to tell you what we want. You're not going to tell us what you can give us. We'll tell you what we want. And that's when we introduced watertight bulkheads, for instance, and a limit on ballast, which is still in existence. But that was from 10 sailors. Uh, I think it'll be interesting into this race to get some feedback from the various sailors too. Um, you know, there's a lot to be learned, a lot of useful lessons, I think, for people who go cruising. Because basically these boats are cruising boats. They're not racing boats at all. Oh, I love going to sea. I get away from bureaucracy. I'm making the decisions. I'll decide where I go. I'll decide how I get there. I've got no bureaucrats saying, under the law, you've got to do this, that, or the other. Um, that is one of the huge differences between 50 years ago and now, is the amount of bureaucracy that's crept in. We didn't have life jackets in those days. Safety harnesses, we'd heard of them. Tied a bit of rope around yourself if you wanted to. Um, it's all now, goodness knows what will happen in 50 years' time. I dread to think, probably they'll ban sailing the way things are going. It's just getting worse and worse, frankly. But, it's taking away the opportunity for people to go out and get that freedom, which is really what going to sea is all about. Once I've left the land, once I've got to sea, I'm the master. I'm looking after myself. It's up to me, and I'm sailing. I'm using the wind to propel my boat. Maybe not as fast as I'd like. The wind isn't quite the right direction, but that's what sailing's all about. And it's going to blow again tonight. Okay, well, it'll blow. just reduce sail and we just crack on. But I feel very comfortable in that environment, more comfortable than I feel at home, to be honest. And so, I mean, my wife knew when she was alive that every so often, 5, 6, 7 years, I needed to go off on my own. Nothing to do with our relationship whatsoever. I'd say, right, I'm going to sail across to West Indies. Why don't you fly and join me there? Well, because seasickness used to affect her, got worse as she got older, she didn't really want to sail over. So that suited both of us. I got my time alone, and she didn't get seasick, and then she'd join me when we got the other end, which was lovely. And then we just go cruising, which I've always liked doing. So it's perfect, but I needed just occasionally, I just need to get out on a boat on my own and just sail. And I need to have a reasonable distance. I'm not a great believer in putting my sails up in the morning and stowing them at night. If I put my sails up, I like to leave them up for 3 weeks and tack on Fridays.